There's a couple Chief players that Brett Veach most definitely won't get rid of at contract extension time, right? Well, according to one story today, that may not be the case, and it's kind of scary, Steve. Let's talk about it.
We're all chiefed up, and we're back with another podcast for that ass. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're trying to get to 30K subs as quick as possible. So if you haven't done it yet, do us a favor.
Let's go.
Yeah, Mike, who are these people that Brett Veach is going to be signing?
Right. Brett Veach's history suggests the Chiefs won't re-sign two All-Pros, says Joe Summers from KC Kingdom.
Dun, dun.
Brett Veach's track record suggests Creed Humphrey and Trent McDuffie could walk.
Ouch.
What? If you look back at Veach's time running the front office, KC elected not to re-sign Mitch Morse, Orlando Brown Jr., Tyrann Mathieu, Charvarius Ward, and now L'Jarius Sneed. The team did sign Joe Thuney to a large contract in free agency, though they haven't re-signed one of their own offensive linemen to any big extensions. Humphrey is an All-Pro and two-time Pro Bowler. He'll likely command one of the largest contracts in the NFL at his position, if not the largest contract. McDuffie became a first-team All-Pro player last season and enters this season as the face of the secondary. Smith will also likely require a hefty deal, and it's hard to imagine that the Chiefs keep everyone. This is the consequence of routinely excellent drafts. If most of your draft picks turn into stars, Steve, they'll eventually need to be paid. Are we going to get rid of Creed Humphrey, Steve, and Trent McDuffie?
Mike, this is something we've talked about several times. We've been talking about for 2 years now. Like, what's going to happen when all these contracts come up?
100%.
That's been a talking point for Chiefs Kingdom. And I think we've discussed a lot of different scenarios. We've talked before about how they didn't pay Mitch Morse. They don't really care a whole lot and put a whole lot into centers. There was a couple others they didn't sign either. And then as far as guards go, like Trey Smith, I mean, they're pretty replaceable as far as the draft goes. It's not hard to get a good guard in the draft. But McDuffie, man, this is the one that really is going to scare people. And the thing about it is we told people since 2 years ago when we first started this channel that they were not going to re-sign L'Jarius Sneed because they do not pay corners. Can Trent McDuffie be the outlier? Quite possibly, Mike. They traded up for him and used a round one pick on him. I think it might be a different sort of investment, and this is something they can move forward with. But then again, like this guy said, they don't have the track record of paying corners.
Right. Look, Creed's going to want a lot of money. Creed's going to want a hefty contract. There's no doubt about it. Now, he's not without his problems. He was snapping the ball low a little bit last year. There were some times in the Super Bowl even he snapped the ball low. They couldn't get the ball to Rashee Rice. That's when Rashee had that little freak out there on the sidelines.
Yeah.
But look, they made him switch hands. They made him do different things. Creed is solid. They've experimented at putting him at guard. He does everything. I love Creed Humphrey.
Solid. Yeah,
this dude is
really
amazing. Good. I think you got to pay Creed Humphrey. I really do. Now, again, where you sit at the draft every year, late in the draft, you can always snag the first or second best center in every draft. Hands down, you can do it.
I think the Chiefs already are planning, just in case they can't, with the Hunter Norzad pick. Because that's a guy that can definitely play that center position, and he's a smart kid with a lot of upside. So I think they might be planning for that.
I think ultimately they sign them both back. I can't see either one of them walking. I think Brett Veach changes course, and we get both of them back in here. Moving on, Steve. A to Z Sports, Charles Goldman. He says Kansas City Chiefs DC Steve Spagnuolo receives a Lifetime Achievement Award as an NFL assistant coach today. On Tuesday, the Pro Football Writers of America announced that SPAGS is one of 2 recipients of the Dr. Z Award. He earned the defensive award, while Titans offensive coordinator Bill Callahan earned the offensive award. The PFWA gives out the Dr. Z Award annually, recognizing lifetime achievement as an assistant coach in the NFL. This is the 10th season that this award has been bestowed. And then this award is also named after Paul Zimmerman, Dr. Paul Zimmerman, one of the greatest football writers of our time, covering the NFL for 29 years at Sports Illustrated. Steve, Spags is getting his flowers. Spags deserved this. And I remember not so long ago, Chiefs Kingdom was ready to get rid of Spags.
Mike, we were advocates for Spags that year. What have you done for me lately? We always talk about that, right? When the defense looked like they were struggling, not this last season, but the season before that, it took about half a season before that defense started to click at all.
Yeah.
People were ready to get rid of Spags, and we tried to talk sense into them. Like, guys, this guy's won 3 freaking Super Bowl rings, and you're talking about let's get him out of here? Like, be patient. This guy is a freaking defensive genius. Everybody knows it, and everybody's starting to talk about it. Spags is getting his flowers. Mike, the only sad thing I can see about all this Spags recognition is he did say in an interview last year that he would like to get back into head coaching.
I don't think he's going anywhere, though. I think he's going to firmly stay here till
They
Andy
did extend
leaves.
him.
Yeah, I think he's going to be here till Andy leaves. I think he's going to win a lot more Super Bowls here. And look, Spags had one of the best defensive seasons any coach has ever had last season with all those young guys. Man. And this year, he's got his work cut out for him again because it's not getting any easier. And L'Jarius Sneed is now out the door. You've got a young secondary. How are they going to mesh? I think it's all going to come together. Spags is going to put on a show this year. That defense is going to look good. I think it's going to be solid.
Hey ye! It's time for Beyond the Kingdom. Baby, this is a segment where we talk about NFL news outside of the kingdom. It's nice looking at different NFL news through a Chiefs lens.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing how it all goes.
First up today, we have Justin Jefferson agreeing to a record-setting $140 million contract extension with the Minnesota Vikings. SpotRack Steve says 4 years, $140 million new money, 5 years, $159.7 million total. $88.7 million guaranteed at signing, $38 million in cash in 2024, and 4 years at $125.7 million practical money, Steve. Look at those cap hits. That's legit money. In 2027 and 2028, he's going to be making more than quarterbacks in this league, Steve. I don't think the wide receiver can sustain that much money for that long in the NFL. I think it's going to eventually hit a peak and come down. I don't know when the peak stops, though, because Tyreek's already wanting more money. Jamar Chase is wanting money.
Yeah,
I don't know when it's going to end. CeeDee Lamb's wanting money. Steve, I'm glad Brett Veach isn't paying it.
These guys have earned a good contract. They have. But at the same time, if you look at a contract like this one for Justin Jefferson, and don't get me wrong, I do think he is the best wide receiver in the NFL, if healthy and on the field. But I think paying anyone this much money is literally hamstringing your franchise.
It's ludicrous.
It's almost a death knell for
Do you
the
remember
Vikings.
when people wanted us to trade for Justin Jefferson and we said, the contract
Absolutely
this guy
not.
wants? He said he wanted to break the
Hell
bank.
to the no.
He broke it. He broke it.
That's insane.
Steve, next up, Tyreek Hill. We know he wants a contract, but he says being greedy ain't going to help the team. Steve,
That's
he left.
rich.
He left the Chiefs when he had $25 million per year on the table because he wanted more money, because he wanted the accolade of being the highest paid receiver or whatever it is. Do you think this is going to hold up, or is he going to try? I would say after this year, if he has another good solid season, he's going to come after more money.
Look, knowing how Tyreek Hill is and his attitude, he realizes right now that he will not get paid what Justin Jefferson just got paid.
Right.
So what's the best thing to do? Backpedal a little bit and say, hey, I can't be greedy. That's not good for the team. And that makes it look like, well, he didn't get the highest paid contract because he was trying to be team friendly. That's not it. He's going to get as much money as he can out of them. And it could come at the cost of them not being able to pay Tua what he needs to be paid. So they got a little bit of a mess going on.
They do, and they just paid Waddle a lot of money, so we'll see how that pans out. Steve, somebody did get paid. Christian McCaffrey got another one, a record-setting extension worth 2 years, $38 million. I think the only one even close to him right now is Alvin Kamara, maybe? Possibly.
Really?
But, dude, I think Christian McCaffrey's earned this. When I seen the trade from the Panthers, I was like, dude, you traded for a running back? Like, I don't know how that's going to pan out for you. He's actually come over. He fits right in with San Francisco. He's been a big part of – I mean, they played a good game versus the Chiefs this past season. They've looked good. The 49ers have done what the Chiefs have done in the NFC has been the 49ers. I think he's deserved it. Christian McCaffrey's a heck of a running back.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Christian McCaffrey's a generational player, right? So you do have to pay those guys. He's the best running back in the league. So by all means, he should be the top paid running back in the league. I think it's a smart idea to pay a running back that much? Absolutely not. But then again,
do you think that frees up money? Do you think it frees up money or takes away money from Brandon Ayuk, who's not got his deal right now? Do you think maybe that's going to free up some money to give Ayuk some more money? Or do you think this just means Ayuk's done?
I mean, essentially it could. We've talked about that before, like last season when we were like, hey, why don't we go ahead and pay Chris Jones and you set that contract up to free up money? But that's not how it worked for the Chiefs. They waited. That could be what they're doing here, but I have read several reports where they think that they are still shopping Ayuk, and Deebo Samuels. They're still shopping them around. So I would expect to maybe see one of them get traded before the season starts.
It's a very good possibility. Another big headliner in the news this week, C.J. Stroud.
Man, everybody lost their minds about this one.
He listed his top 5 QBs. He said Patrick Mahomes was number 1. He gave number 2 to Lamar Jackson. He took number 3 himself. Dak Prescott was the wild one at number 4. And then who was number 5? Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was number 5, Steve. We broke this down on a live, and we said that Dak probably has a chance to get in that top 5.
You
but
could
Jalen
argue
Hurts
if you
is
go
the odd man out.
strictly, yeah, if you go strictly off of 2023, which is what he was asked, who the best players were last year, because the guys on the show with him kept bringing up, you're not going to put Joe Burrow on the list. He didn't even play last year, bro.
Right.
Like CJ Stroud said that to him. But Jalen Hurts had no business on the top 5. Dak Prescott, you could argue it if you go just by 2023 and you go by the stats. You could absolutely argue it.
And
not
honestly,
a fan of it. But I will tell you this, CJ Stroud, after the pushback, he went back and fixed this via social media.
What did he do? Did he put Josh Allen on the list?
He put Josh Allen and dropped Dak down, I believe. I think he took Hurts off the list, if I'm not mistaken. I have it somewhere, but off the top of my head, I think that's what he did.
To be honest, I don't even know if Lamar should have got on there. I thought that was a weak MVP season.
Very weak MVP season.
And I just don't see it. I think Brock Purdy had a chance to get on that list, to be honest, and they shunned him.
Brock Purdy should absolutely have been on the list.
That time's yours.
Time's not yours, Steve. It's Chiefs Kingdom's time.
Kingdom's time.
It's ACU Cruise time. We're going to get it going.
I'm glad you got that right today.
Yeah, baby. I threw this up today. Total domination. Patrick Mahomes versus the Broncos in his career. Look at those numbers. Almost 3,700 yards, 21 touchdowns. Did 11 picks. I think almost all those come from Justin Simmons. 85.2 passer rating. That's actually a little low. Actually, I went back and re-added up. It was 93.3 with a 12-1 record. So wanted to see what the Kingdom thought about it. Nick Althouse says, my boy been cooking. Never doubt this man. Every time I see this guy get the group together and use his hands to tell them to come on. Let's get this going. I'm like, yep, he's about to put on that work. He says, come on, huddle up, huddle up. That's what he says, Steve. Tyrell, my bad. Had a little dyslexia there. Tyrell, he's owning the Broncos like Brady was owning the Bills. Yikes. And then, of course, Angelo says, absolutely outstanding. Mahomes Chiefs fan since 76. Let's get ready to rumble from Uncle Angelo from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Uncle Angelo
go, baby.
In the house. Let's go. Steve, is that surprising to see how much he has dominated the Denver Broncos?
It's crazy because, like, stat-wise, I don't think it's, like, total domination like he has some other teams. Like, if you go back and look at what he's done to the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs, it's unreal.
Right. This is regular season numbers. Yeah.
I get that. But the fact that he has completely dominated them, the only game he's lost to the Broncos in his entire career was when he had the flu, and the Chiefs played one of the worst games I've ever seen them play.
Wait till I dig up his stats versus the Raiders and see how lopsided that one is. Moving on, I asked, which of these free agents would you like to see in a Chiefs uniform? If any. Patrick Peterson, Dalvin Cook, Michael Thomas, or nobody. We're good. Steve, do you want to take a guess at what the Kingdom said?
This is a good one, actually. I would say nobody were good. That's where I'm at. I think we're solid. If any, I would say Dalvin Cook could come in and take that Jerick McKinnon role. But I think Chiefs Kingdom is still a little horn on receivers. So I'm going to go Michael Thomas.
You are correct. 43%.
Yeah.
That's a landslide out here for Michael Thomas, Steve. I thought that was a little weird. Doug says, ACU, thanks for the polls that you do. One of the greatest channels on YouTube. Appreciate you,
Doug.
Appreciate the gas, Doug. Patrick says, Michael Thomas, of course. No matter how good a team is, there's always room for improvement. That's how a top team stays on top and a bottom team becomes a top team. Marcus goes on to say, hell no, none of them. How is Michael Thomas winning? That's a terrible option. And then Cody chimes in with, Dalvin Cook would look good in this offense, sparing Pacheco. Good vision, good hands, great out of the backfield, veteran presence, would be a great backup change of pace. Go get him. I kind of feel like I'm with Cody here. I think Dalvin Cook's the most intriguing one to me. I think Patrick Peterson's a little old and decrepit. Okay, if you want to go that route. And I just don't know if we need Michael Thomas. I don't know where he fits in this wide receiver room. We've already talked about we don't think Andy's taking 7 and 6. There's not a lot of spots there. And again, I know people's going to say, well, throw out Kadarius Toney and throw out Sky Moore. They're so easy to do that. But Andy and Brett is not willing to do that to this point, and I don't think they're going to do it again this time.
No, and I mean, the idea of having like that veteran wide receiver is cool. But at the same time, when you're talking about a guy that hasn't even played much in the last 3-4 years because he's literally hurt all the time, that just doesn't sound like something that you want to put on the team. I'm with you. Dalvin Cook seems the most intriguing, but it would have to be cheap.
Yeah, I don't want to pay what Dalvin Cook wants. Moving on, how many sacks will George Karlaftis get in 2024? If you remember, we looked at this at 1,000 votes, and it was 9 through 12. Steve,
Yeah, I started to say, man, we did this one already.
at 5,000 votes, I wanted to give you the update, and I thought
Did they make a comeback?
The update.
I said 13 plus, baby. I have all the faith in George.
It stayed.
It
It stayed at 59%, but 13 plus at 11%, not bad. Replica goes on to say, Furious George seems to get better each year. 13 plus definitely isn't far-fetched, Steve. So
I agree.
I think I agree
That's
there.
what I said last time, Mike. I said he's on an uptrend. Like, why? What makes us think he's going to go backwards?
100%. So on Monday's video, we talked about a trade with Cleveland that people were throwing around for a right tackle, Jack Conklin. Possibly moving in the left. Kingsley Suamatae. You've got Wanye Morris. We talked about possibly picking up, who was it? Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson at a free agent corner slot. The Kingdom sounded off on it. RJ says, you two are the best to listen to with a good cigar and bourbon. Keep it up and go for more viewers. Stay horned. So RJ, just wanted to throw that in there. RJ, thanks for the gas, baby. And that's what's up. Alistair Haddock says, hear ye, hear ye. ACU,
Hear ye, hear ye.
Hear ye. ACU speaking the truth all day long. Love the new short content. I agree these trade and free agency rumors are getting ridiculous. What is this, Chat Sports? Let the boys work. Hey, noggin on Chat Sports over there. They'll come get you. Meta says, why y'all call that man old and decrepit, Steve? Why you calling?
I'm sorry.
Why you calling Patrick Peterson old and decrepit?
Because he's old and decrepit. As far in the football world. I can't call him old and decrepit in the real world because I'm older than him.
In the football world, he farts dust. I don't want him.
He's basically the crypt keeper.
Sean Mount says, glory hole. It's Flory hole. Get it right.
It's Mike Glory Hole.
Flory hole. Okay. B Phrase says, where are these sources coming from linking the Chiefs to all these trades? I appreciate y'all talking about them, but these are probably nothing more than talking points. B Phrase, we know that. We're also a podcast, so we're going to talk about it. And it's just one of those things. It's not that big of a deal. And I appreciate that you appreciate we talked about it. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a talking point.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we actually give the sources when we bring up the stuff. So if you go watch the video, we'll tell you who brought up the talking point. But with that, though, just for fun. Well, of course they're a talking point. We're a freaking video podcast that talks about stuff. So that's what we're doing here.
I don't think he minds. I don't think he minds.
I had to.
He just wants to know why the clickbait's
I think he does mind, Mike. I think he does mind. Because he said something about it. So we'll just have to wait and see. Let us know.
Let us know. We got one more on the day. Florio's a knob, says Nick. I had to make that dead
Glory
last.
hole is a knob.
Florio is a knob. I loved it. I thought that was a fitting way to end Times Yours. And you know what, Steve? It's been a fun one today. We talked about it a lot. Let us know in the comments what you guys like, what you don't. Maybe you'll be featured on Times Yours as well. And let us know if you think Brent Veach may break trend. Sign back Creed Humphrey. Sign back Trent McDuffie. Thanks for watching. Clicking that bell. Click subscribe. See you guys on the next one. Go Chiefs.